Stellantis needs a stellar CEO to boost beaten-down shares. The automotive world is buzzing with speculation about a bold move that could reshape Stellantis' future, the potential spin-off of its powerhouse brands, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, into a standalone entity. Inspired by Sergio Marchionne's success with Ferrari's independence, this strategy could unlock tremendous value and focus for these iconic American brands. With Jeep's global appeal, Dodge's performance heritage, Ram's dominance in trucks, and Chrysler's rich legacy, these brands form the core of Stellantis' North American strength. As the U.S. transitions to a new administration, this could be the perfect moment to seize the opportunity and reshape the company's trajectory. Now, I know some people are going to say, it's not going to happen. But hear me out. Roll the intro. So, what's up guys? Stellantis is facing some pretty big challenges right now. We've got CEO Carlos Tavares stepping down, downgraded financial projections, and a lot of turnover in the management team, all of which are definitely going to affect the company's performance and strategy in 2024. On top of that, the company's dealing with excess vehicle inventories, not enough pricing power, and promises to the United Auto Workers Union that haven't been kept. These aren't just small issues. They point to some pretty serious operational problems. Even though Stellantis has a low PE ratio and offers a decent dividend yield, it's stuck with a pretty dull brand portfolio and a lot of leadership instability. Because of all this, it's probably best to give it a hold rating until they find a new CEO. If you're thinking about investing, I'd be cautious. Stellantis has had a rough track record with mergers, some questionable strategy moves, and tough competition from other automakers, especially the Chinese EV manufacturers. So, if you go through the entire article, one thing really stands out. They totally roasted Stellantis, calling it a dog's breakfast of automakers with too much product. What they meant was, Stellantis has 14 different brands, Chrysler, Fiat, Peugeot, Opel and more, all thrown together through a bunch of deals and mergers into one big global company. Here's the kicker. They argue that with so many weak and mediocre brands, Stellantis needs a leader with serious talent to pull it all together. The board and leadership are on the hunt for that kind of person and hope to have someone in place by mid-2025. But honestly, I think it'll happen sooner, probably by the end of Q1. Personally, I still think Tim Kuniskis is the best fit. Even European reporters have pointed out that Stellantis is like a patchwork of lower-tier brands, aside from Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and maybe Fiat. Now let's talk about Sergio Marchionne. This is the key part. The article brings up how his leadership at Fiat Chrysler, before it became Stellantis, was a game-changer. Sergio, famous for his dark sweater, long hours, and chain smoking, wasn't shy about demanding top performance from his executives. He was also pretty skeptical about battery-powered cars, even advising against buying the electric Fiat because each sale was a loss. One of Sergio's most underrated moves was the spin-off of Ferrari. For those who don't know, the current Stellantis board is pretty similar to Ferrari's board when that happened. Ferrari was separated from Fiat Chrysler and went public on the stock market in 2015 under the ticker RACE. Here's the mind-blowing part. If you had invested $1,000 in Ferrari's IPO, it would be worth about $10,000 today. That's a 10x return. And get this, Ferrari's market value is now more than double that of Stellantis. The largest shareholder in Ferrari, owning 36% of the company, is Exor NV. Exor is an investment holding company that belongs to Italy's wealthy Agnelli family, the same family that founded Fiat. The CEO of Exor is none other than John Elkann, who also happens to be the chairman of Stellantis. Elkann, the 48-year-old heir to the Agnelli dynasty, hired Sergio Marchionne back in 2009 to turn Fiat around. After that, Fiat went on to acquire Chrysler out of bankruptcy during the global financial crisis. So why is all this important? Let's quickly touch on Tim Kuniskis' role before diving into why it matters. Kuniskis is one of Stellantis' top executives who retired, but after Carlos Tavares took over, he came back. And he's already made some major changes to the Ram large pickup strategy in North America, the company's most profitable product segment in the world's most lucrative market. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram are really the cash cows that keep Stellantis running. Kuniskis, who's been with Chrysler for 32 years, made the bold decision to scrap a planned battery electric vehicle, BEV Ram truck. Yep, you heard that right. Scrapped. This wasn't just a delay, it was a full-on cancellation. Instead, he introduced the Ram Charger, a hybrid model with a gasoline generator to extend its range. This move could be a sign that Kuniskis is skeptical about the push toward electrification, possibly influenced by his experience working with Marchion. However, demand for BEVs outside of China has been weaker than expected. Last year, Ram's unit volume dropped by 19%, which had a pretty big impact on Stellantis' financial outlook. Kuniskis pointed to production glitches as the main reason for the decline, and he's focused on fixing these issues quickly. Looking ahead, he plans to introduce a passenger van and a mid-size pickup, both of which are missing from Ram's current lineup. Things are really moving fast now that Tavares is no longer at the helm, and there's a growing buzz around the idea of a potential split, something similar to what we saw with Ferrari a few years ago. Stellantis may find itself in a situation where it has no choice but to separate some of its most iconic brands, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, into a completely standalone entity, and it's even possible that Fiat could be included in that mix. Now here's the thing. It seems pretty unlikely that John Elkann, who's deeply connected to Fiat and its legacy, would allow Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram to spin off on their own without including Fiat in the deal. It's not just about splitting things up. Fiat might be essential to making the deal work financially and strategically. Without it, it could be hard to balance the portfolio and secure the future of these brands in a competitive market. Meanwhile, with a new president being sworn in today and signing 100 executive orders, one of those orders is rolling back certain emissions restrictions. This is a big shift. It signals a return to affordable gasoline and internal combustion engines that people actually want. Now, Stellantis has zero excuses left. If there isn't an announcement about reintroducing V8 engines in Rams within the next 30 days, they're done. It won't matter if they launch a mid-size truck or a van. If they don't meet what the market wants, they're going to fail, plain and simple. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you like this content. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends. Now let's talk about Sergio Marchionne. This is the key part. The article brings up how his leadership at Fiat Chrysler, before it became Stellantis, was a game changer. Sergio, famous for his dark sweater, long hours, and chain smoking, wasn't shy about demanding top performance from his executives. He was also pretty skeptical about battery-powered cars, even advising against buying the electric Fiat because each sale was a loss. One of Sergio's most underrated moves was the spin-off of Ferrari. For those who don't know, the current Stellantis board is pretty similar to Ferrari's board when that happened. Ferrari was separated from Fiat Chrysler and went public on the stock market in 2015 under the ticker RACE. Here's the mind-blowing part. If you had invested $1,000 in Ferrari's IPO, it would be worth about $10,000 today. That's a 10x return. And get this, Ferrari's market value is now more than double that of Stellantis. The largest shareholder in Ferrari, owning 36% of the company, is Exor NV. Exor is an investment holding company that belongs to Italy's wealthy Agnelli family, the same family that founded Fiat.